Hi, my name is Amy Howard. Today I want to show you how to be able to antique furniture with wax. Now you've noticed a lot of pieces that you've seen probably online and in antique malls all across the United States, and we can say that they're furniture failures because so many of them have used sandpaper to go back in and actually antique the pieces of furniture. You'll notice with the Amy Howard at Home aesthetic, we do not recommend using sandpaper at all. We want a beautiful opaque coverage finish with the one-step paint. And then we want to be able to add some elements of age with our waxes. So I want to show you exactly today just how to use the waxes. So on this piece of furniture, or you can look at it as a cabinet door, I actually got it from Habitat. This is what I like to be able to experiment on furniture to see if this is the exact color that I want to use. So I painted this in French blue, and I want to be able to come back with this round hog hair brush that is great for applying waxes. Now you'll see there's two differences of the waxes that I'm using. This is a light antique wax. It's a combination of carnauba, which is for its hardness, which has been used for years on bowling alleys, and then secondly beeswax. It gives us that really pretty color. I want you to use this 100% on your piece of furniture. So I'm going to take my China bristle brush, I'm going to load it up. You'll notice I'm pressing down quite a bit into the wax. That way I want to make sure that I'm getting coverage all over all the bristles on my brush. So then I'm going to take a piece of cardboard and I want to just press it into it because this is evenly dispersing the wax again, so I don't have little sneaky areas that have too much wax on them. I'm going to come back over my door like this. Now look how I'm applying the wax in cross hatching this motion, but then I'll come back and I'm going to feather it out. So I'll load up my brush again, offload it onto the cardboard, and then come back. Now, because I'm going to have 100% coverage of the wax on this, I'm going to feel of it as I'm putting it on because I'm going to see that it's nice and greasy. It's kind of moving. This is going to have to come to tack. Tack is understanding when the wax has gone from being greasy and just kind of moving, there's movement to the wax, to coming to tack where it's a little cooler, because I don't want to put my dark wax on for my antiquing while the wax is still wet. What that's going to do, it's literally going to cause a third color to be created. The only reason for using the dark wax is that I'm wanting to show detail, definition, and age. If I don't want to add the dark wax, I can stop right here. I'm going to allow it to come to tack, and after about 20 or 30 minutes, I'm going to buff it with a lint-free rag, and I'm finished. But now I've decided on this piece, I do want to be able to show the dark wax antique application. So knowing when it's come to tack, I'm going to touch it. It's not moving around. It's cooler and it's not moving. So it's kind of pulling my hand just a little bit. It's harder. So now I think I'm ready. I can go on and put my dark wax on. Now it's very important you don't use the round brush for dark wax. This is only intended for the light antique wax or the clear wax. So I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to use my China bristle brush. So I'm going to load up the dark wax. I want to make sure you know that you never use the dark wax by itself. Never. It is always used in conjunction with the light antique wax. So I'm going to load up my brush with the dark wax, wanting to look and make sure that I have it on all my bristles. And then I'm going to offload it to where there's hardly any on here. I can always add more wax later, but if I get too much wax on, then I'm going to go in with a rag and it's just going to be messy. So then I'm going to come back, and where we want to start, you never want to start in the center of a piece of furniture or a cabinet. You want to start on the outside first. That way I'm going to work my way in. So my husband always used to give our girls butterfly kisses. So you think it's just barely touching the surface on your piece of furniture. That's how I want you to apply the dark wax. So I'm going to come in and look just how my brush is barely touching, and it's like a feathering process, but I'm going to start moving it from left to right. See already, look how you can see how it's just starting to shadow it just a little bit. So I'm going to load up just a little bit more dark wax. And I'm pressing, look how I'm pressing that brush down in here. There's some pressure going in to make sure that that wax is actually getting on my brush, but then I'm offloading it and moving it around so it's evenly distributed. So then I'm going to come back again on the edge. See how I'm constantly turning my brush, and then I'll come back and feather it just a little bit. So I'm going left and right, and then I'll come and I'll feather it just to soften it. See the detail that I'm starting to get? It's very, very subtle though. This is not something that you want to overdo. It's always better to know that less is more. And I love being able to look at the difference here even on this side if I just want to keep light antique wax and it's nice and fresh and clean, or if I want to be able to add some detail over here with the light antique wax. I want to do just a little bit more here in the center so that way you can see what it looks like. When I get to these larger areas, I'm also concerned to not make sure that it's all covered. I don't want to cover this entire door. It's heavy with the dark wax that I have here. It's nice to be able to have it to where it's different consistencies. Gives what I call a nice oval eye track and some interest and detail. It's always going to be a little darker, maybe around the raised areas on the cabinet door. So maybe I can come back in. Just kind of shadow that a little bit. Always to kind of come back and feather it so it's not too heavy or too pronounced. So this allows you to kind of see the softness and the look that I want you to have. Now allow this to come to tack for probably about 30 or 45 minutes, and you can buff it with a lint-free dry rag. Now you see how easy it is to use our waxes. The combination of the light antique wax with just a little bit of application of the dark antique wax gives you just a very subtle, pretty antiqued finish. Now you get to go enjoy the bragging rights.